Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming today. We're running a little bit behind, and I know people are on tight schedules, so it's my job today to keep this ball rolling as our Master of Ceremonies. My name is Ken Berry. I'm the Director of Property Management for Accessible Space, Inc. We are the ones who are blessed to have the pleasure of leasing up and managing and operating Patriot Place Apartments, which is why we're here to celebrate today. One of the things that you're going to notice today with the speakers that will soon be up here is that it took an awful lot of commitment and hard work from a lot of different peoples and organizations to make this happen. And we are very fortunate to have everyone here today representing their respective agencies and organizations who contributed to the successful funding, development, and operation of Patriot Place Apartments. With that in mind, I'd like to acknowledge the long and steadfast commitment that we've received from the County of Clark, Nevada. And I'm very pleased to announce Commissioner Chris Giancigliani.
That was pretty good. You could just buy a vowel. It works as well, too.
Non capisco niente.
Sì, grazie. Chris G is fine. It's my honor. This is the second project that we've had with the low-income funding tax credit that we just opened Boulder Pines up on Boulder Highway recently, which is providing affordable housing for families. And this project is for our veterans. Thank you for your service. It's Flag Day, so we should really, really say thank you one more time for everybody in here. I still remember when Accessible Space really came into town and came and lobbied up in Carson City in the 90s when I was serving in the legislature. And they promised us that their mission would never forget that it was about disabled, it was about veterans. And as a special ed teacher, it means so much because many of my students still call me and don't have accessible housing available to them. So what I love about you is it starts to change a neighborhood's mind. We need to start breaking down that NIMBYism. I had another project just up the street, and they turned out all in opposition, but it was the right project to do. And sometimes elected officials have to say, sorry, we're not going to tolerate that anymore. But the way you develop and design this absolutely should prove them wrong. Right? This is about affordable, safe, beautiful housing because, number one, for our veterans, you served us, so God bless you. But we want people to know that this is about housing. This is about making sure that we develop properties that have the right lighting, that are energy efficient, accessible to you. So I'm just thrilled to be here, actually, just to do this introduction today. I want to just give you some stats. Patriot Place has 49 units with the manager's unit of housing that's designed to meet the needs of very low-income housing. The development also offers apartments to households at below 40% of our area median income. That means individuals with less than $19,500. You know what? The one thing we need to still do is start making sure that we add community gardens in all of our housing projects because I want healthy food and I want people to have something to do. Right, Ms. Duncan? Ruby Duncan's in with us today. Because you want your seniors to have, and your individuals to have an opportunity to co-mingle with each other, get to know each other, have safe food. We just put in our 155th garden in schools right now in Southern Nevada. So that's what's in our plan. So I'm excited about this project, but it's about collaboration. And I want to thank my staff here, that Mike and Kristen. You always get so involved. You know that the passion comes through. And you'll hear from some of these other individuals. But it's really about making sure that this is a home, not an apartment complex. This is your home. And when that kind of love goes into the design and to the construction, I hope you will respect it and as others will respect it within our community. So thank you for letting me be here for a few minutes today. I appreciate it, Kevin. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. The Nevada Housing Division was a critical primary source of funding who released the tax credits and awarded them to Accessible Space, Inc. for Patriot Place Apartments. I'm very pleased to have Mr. Jake LaRoe, Deputy Administrator from the Nevada Housing Division. Thank you, Jake.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Commissioner G. I'd asked her to kind of, go a little easy on me since I'm second billing here. So first real public speaking engagement. So just bear with me. So good afternoon again. Welcome to the Patriot Place Apartments open house and dedication ceremony. I have to say, as evidenced by how many individuals here that are up to speak and those in the crowd, is clear evidence of the collaboration it takes to really put a project like this together. And especially with recent changes in tax code, making low-income housing tax credits more difficult to put projects together, it's important that developers like ASI build and maintain those relationships with partners, because nobody goes and does it alone. So. An interesting tidbit is I used to work for Clark County, and this is actually one of my first agreements and projects that I'd worked on. So it's interesting seeing it from both sides. So with that, I just want to step back a little bit and give and Ken, thank you for telling me that we're short on time, because I tend to blab. So this doesn't happen overnight, right? That sounds cliche, but it's so true. So I just want to give folks maybe that aren't real familiar with this just some background. So in 2010, back 8 years ago, President Obama accepted an Opening Doors, the federal strategic plan to end and prevent homelessness that was delivered by the U.S. Interagency Council on Homelessness, marking the nation's first comprehensive strategy to prevent and end homelessness. Further, in Nevada, Governor Sandoval proclaimed in 2014 to be the Year of the Veteran, as part of the Green Zone initiative introduced in the fall of 2012. And as a result, that proclamation by the governor in 2014 had spurred action not only by the Nevada Housing Division, but also with partners in the community, that resulted in the creation of a Veterans Housing Task Force Committee to explore how the state's low-income housing tax credit program, which is the primary driver of affordable housing development, not only in Nevada but nationwide, to how we can leverage that program to help deliver affordable, safe housing for Nevada's veterans. And throughout meetings of the committee that began in January of 2014 and ended in July of the same year, it was determined that NHD would create a reservation or a set-aside in the 2015 Low-Income Housing Tax Credit Qualified Allocation Plan. And as a result, due to the fact that we're all sitting here today, ASI was a successful project that was awarded tax credits under that set-aside. So just to give you some numbers, because I'm always a numbers guy, at the end of the day, and this gentleman from U.S. Bank could probably get more into the details, this project received just a little over $1 million in tax credits. And what that means for this project is it generated almost $12 million in tax credit equity for the development of this project, which equates to just a little over 83% of the total project budget. So, in conjunction with our other partners here that will be speaking today, you can see how, although tax credit does play an important role, there's other elements of this project that really made everything come together. And Commissioner G touched on some of the units, the number of units being served, or the number of folks being served by these units. I'm not sure if somebody else will mention this, so I'll throw this out there. As it stands today, I understand that 44 of the 49 units at Patriots Place are occupied by U.S. veterans. And of those units, over the 49 units, 31 are serving or occupied by residents with one or more physical disabilities. And so in closing, I would just like to congratulate ASI, again, the entire development team. They're a very committed development team to delivering affordable housing for Southern Nevadans, not only veterans, but also persons with physical disabilities. Also, NHD staff, Mark Lisea is a constant figure for any of those that are involved with tax credit applications. He's been there for many years. I won't say how many. I don't want to offend anyone. But thank you, Mark. And one other thing I just wanted to say, not only is this an open house and dedication ceremony for Patriots Place, but it's now an award-winning Patriots Place. So, and with that, I look forward to being back in this neighborhood in a year or two, just a mile up the road for Allegiance, which is the phase 2. So, congratulations, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Jake. I appreciate all of those kind words. And we are looking forward to Allegiance getting started here very soon. We'll start construction. U.S. Bank has been a partner and a collaborator in so many different ways for Accessible Space Inc. for a very long time. Not do we only hold a lot of our managed affiliates' bank accounts with U.S. Bank. They are the investor on this project and created that $12 million in capital to put the bricks and sticks on the ground here at Patriot Place Apartments. So I'm very happy to have John Clevenger, Assistant Vice President from U.S. Bank Community Development Corporation.
Hi, John Clevenger from U.S. Bank. Thank you, Ken. Thank you to everyone that's going to speak. I was unlucky enough not to be at the bank when this project went through, but I remember when I started being told how important this relationship was to U.S. Bank, and immediately wanted me to learn more about ASI and what they did. And I can tell you that, a lot of bankers will tell you they'll say, these are my favorite projects. I'll tell you that's not always true. But this is one of my favorite developers. We love what they do. We feel very, very lucky to be a part of their mission and to be able to help them do beautiful buildings like this. My colleague Jen back there, her and I have worked on a few of these deals now. And frankly, we just couldn't be more proud to be a part of it. And I feel very lucky to be a part of an organization that allows me to invest in properties like this and to partner with groups like ASI because it's needed. It's not nearly available enough for people, and it takes people with like ASI in this environment where tax credits have been, frankly, harder to get, and soft money is harder to get, so it's harder to put these projects together. So this being this award-winning development is a testament to everyone up here and ASI's strength as a developer. And I can say from the bottom of my heart, U.S. Bank feels very, very lucky to be the small part of that development. So thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Well, all of us know how many people face the challenges of chronic homelessness. And it's as apparent in Las Vegas as it is in other parts of the country. And a big percentage of those homeless folks are former veterans who've served in the armed forces here in the United States. We are very fortunate to have secured 13 units that have been specifically set aside for homeless veterans through the Veterans Administration Supportive Housing Program, which is a HUD program. And I'm very happy to have Ms. Tammy Briscoe, the HUD-VASH Program Coordinator from the Veterans Administration Southern Nevada Healthcare System. Welcome, Tammy.
Thank you very much for having us here. I would like to say each of the speakers before me mentioned collaboration, and I will say that this project embodies that word collaboration. I will refer back to my very first meeting with Ken and his team and Brenda and hers. One of the things that I was asked was, what is it that veterans in your program need? And I thought that was a really interesting question because that's not something that I'm often asked in those type of meetings. So I did appreciate the question. And I said, okay, I'm going to answer, this question. And I told Ken, I remember saying, well, they need furniture, they need washer and dryer, they need pots and pans. A lot of them have nothing. When we bring them into our program, they come off the streets after living on the streets for years, and they have nothing. So Ken's response to me, it kind of stumped me a little, but it just blew my mind. He said, no problem. They need furniture, we'll get them furniture. They need pots and pans and dishes and can openers, we're going to get that too. Whatever they need, we will provide. Washers and dryers, whatever they need, we will provide. So that was the very first meeting that we had, and I remember going back and taking it to our team saying, wow, this is this is amazing. This is our first project-based project with the VA. So I remember saying, if this is how it's going to be from here on, this is amazing. This is wonderful, truly wonderful. So I thought I'd share that. And also one more story. I have a lot of stories to tell, but one, just fast forward a few months after that first meeting, when it was time for our veterans to actually move into this wonderful building, Patriot Place. We had a veteran that had a bit of an accident, a pretty significant accident. He was taken by ambulance to one of our local hospitals before he could actually sign the lease. So I called the veteran on the phone while he's in the hospital to see what we can do from him. His only worry in life was not the badly broken leg that he sustained, but was a delay in him moving into his apartment. That was his only concern. And so I called Brenda up on the phone. I called Ken, and we conferenced, and no problem. We'll make it happen. We will bring the lease to him in the emergency room and allow this veteran to sign his lease so that there is no delay in him moving into his unit. And this is a true story, and the veteran is in this room, nodding his head right now. So that is what collaboration is all about. So that is the kind of response that we have received the whole way through. So I think it's more important to read some of the comments that the veterans made the day that they move in. I think that's more relevant than anything that I could say. So one of the veterans, the day that we moved him in, stated, "In my 70 years on planet Earth, I have never lived in such a beautiful place." And this veteran was very emotional and very choked up, so as you can imagine, so was I at this time. Another veteran stated, "I truly cannot believe this is really my home. Someone pinched me. I can't believe this is really my home." Another veteran stated, "Wow, that's all I can say. Wow, this is all I can say." And then one of the social workers who's not here that also participated in getting these veterans moved in, she stated, "Days like today inspire me to keep doing what I do. I am so very happy and so very proud to have had the opportunity to work with such a wonderful team, as far as in the ASI and Public Housing Authority and everyone else that made this possible." So just so you know that this has made a difference in the lives of the veterans that are here, and I know the next project will do the same. So, thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. We look forward to working with you on Allegiance Apartments, where we will have 25 VASH supportive housing vouchers. Look forward to that lease up too, not too long from now. As Tammy referenced, those vouchers that we received came through the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority, who also provided us with 37 additional project-based vouchers that truly subsidize and make affordable the remaining 37 units in this property. I can tell you that it's never easy, and it's virtually difficult, if not impossible, to get that 100% project-based rental assistance from a housing authority whose waiting lists are years long in length. So I think it's critical that we acknowledge and thank the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority, as well as Ms. Amparo Gamarzo, who is the Executive Director. Please, Amparo.
Thank you. It is. Today is a blessed day. This is the projects that we're honored to be part of. I do want to acknowledge that actually our new executive director is here with us. It's Mr. Chad Williams. We're really, truly excited. He comes from the Washington area with a lot of affordable housing experience, and I think the partnership will continue. As you mentioned, our Section 8 program has been closed the wait lists have been closed for several years. But we do recognize that, in order to make the building work and work for many years, is having that assistance. That's why we're honored to participate. I'm honored to work for an agency that recognizes that it's such a great need. And I want to share a story. Have Brenda here, Ms. Fonseca from the Section 8 department, and our admissions department in the back, Sheila and Clarissa and Dina. And I will tell you, when we opened that wait list, it was overwhelming, the response. When you see thousands and thousands of applications, it tears your heart apart, because it tells you how much need we have in this community. And if we do not do anything during the day, and we just do one thing, and it's promote affordable housing for our low, extremely low families, our seniors, our veterans that put their life and defend us from this wonderful country that we live in, then we're not doing our job. This is our mission. This is the why that you mentioned this morning, Mr. Williams. This is why we're here. And I'm truly, truly honored to be part of this partnership. The Housing Authority is honored to be part of the partnership and looking forward for the second phase. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amparo. Accessible Space, Inc. Celebrating its 40th year in operation since 1978. Most of that time, we've been fortunate to have the leadership and the guidance of not only its president and CEO, but my supervisor and my boss. And I'm very, very happy and pleased that Stephen Vanderschaft, president and CEO of Accessible Space, could be here with us today. Thank you, Stephen.
I got a lot of paper, but I won't read it all, so you're okay. I know we're on the clock. So, ASI is a nonprofit organization based in Minnesota, and we got started back in '75. A boyhood friend, broke his neck in a high school diving accident and really didn't have anywhere to go. There wasn't any accessible affordable housing, there weren't any services available, and there wasn't a way to get 24-hour care around the clock. Another friend of mine, Steve Wiggins, really the founder of ASI, said, we've got to do something about this. And when our friend Hondo was in rehab, first at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, and then at Courage Center, they started talking with residents and just discussions with different people and said, what do you need and what would you like? Well, I don't know. I'm on SSDI income of $330 a month. I only get, $35 a month in personal care needs allowance because I'm in this institution. I'll probably end up in a nursing home. And Hondo was all of 19 at the time, and we all thought, that's not the way to go. We were all from a small town in Austin, Minnesota, I should say, in southeastern Minnesota. And Minnesotans can't answer the question, but does anyone know what Austin, Minnesota is famous for? Anybody? Cheese, that's close. Close. Spam. I thought that'd be pretty popular with the vets, so get it in there. So, yeah, home of Spam. So everybody was a meat packer in Austin, and as such, Hondo's family really didn't have the wherewithal to take care of them. It's not that they didn't like Hondo, but their home wasn't accessible, and Hondo was a young man of 19 and didn't necessarily want to live at home. So the alternative was to come up with something else, and thanks to Steve Wiggins, Chuck Berg, and a great host of stewards, many on our board of directors who are with us still, they came up with funding from Uncle HUD, as we affectionately refer to the agency, that was able to develop 5 accessible, affordable homes where 6 people would live. Also, there was unique care coming from the state of Minnesota, so they would have services around the clock, 24/7. And this opened in 1980. As Ken said, it was the 40th year this year from our incorporation in '78. But it goes way back to '75 and a good friend's carrying Steve Wiggins for his best buddy. So I want to thank Steve. His father just passed, a veteran from the Korean War. And without him, we wouldn't be here. And I don't think perhaps Patriot's Place would either. So thanks to Wiggs. ASI now, we've grown quite a bit. We were welcomed in Nevada in 1990, and they had the vision to see that there would be need for accessible, affordable housing. That led to our first development, which was the Carol Haynes Apartments, funded under HUD's Section 811 program. Still in existence today, and thanks to then the Clark County Housing Authority, we had a little bit of piece of land next to the Miller Plaza that they carved off. After 5 years of talking to HUD, that would be okay to do that. And we ended up with Carol Haynes Apartments, still in operation today, and services are still being provided there. We've had 28 different accessible, affordable housing developments funded in Nevada. Over 1,100 people, almost 1,200 are receiving those services. And it's been a wonderful relationship serving people with physical disabilities, seniors, and now, of course, veterans. ASI as well has been asked to participate in many states. We are now in 31 states where we've partnered with individuals, family members, rehab settings to develop what we all know is man's most highest priority in terms of need, and that's shelter. We all need a roof over our heads. We all need a home, and for some it has to be 100% accessible. We need those deep subsidies that are made available, whether it's from VASH or public housing authorities. And with that, we've been blessed also to have 550 great people working with ASI to help us get it there. This development is a very unique one for us because it is our first project serving veterans. It came about, as you heard, from a collaboration dating back, of course, further than 2012 and even in current years, 2014, when people started to say, well, let's try to do something. And this is what happens when people come together and collaborate. You're all part of that moving forward, too, because we want to make sure that we try to meet that ongoing need. There were over 1,200 applications for this building in the first 2 weeks, and we can only house 50. So again, there's a lot more to do. We can't just stop. There's so many people to thank. I don't have the time to thank everyone, but I do want to extend that to the funders on both the public and private side, to the entire development team, which are listed in the brochure of the program. Also, not listed is Keith Spencer here? Is Keith here today? Did I see Keith? Yes. Where's Keith? Keith. Keith was the individual who's brought us these gray sites. And I also want to mention that Keith went above and beyond the call of duty. When we got a call from a neighbor that Allegiance, the site of Allegiance, which is about 3/4 of a mile down the road, a lot of trash was there. Because you know how people are. They drive by and they see vacant land and they think, oh, it's a dumpster. And we didn't get the call in Minnesota, of course, and couldn't have done a lot about it from there right away. But Keith took it upon himself, got the family, said, we're going to go clean it up. And he cleaned it all up. So, Keith, thanks for cleaning it up. Well, let's do it. And that's the kind of extra help we've had throughout all our developments in Nevada. It's been a wonderful, wonderful relationship. Also, I want to thank a number of people from ASI who are here today. I can't do it by name because there are so many, but if they'd all stand, and if we could just give them a quick round of applause. They make me look so good. I appreciate it. And I want to say especially a thank you to Dan Billmark. Dan's our Director of Real Estate Development. He may not look it, but he's actually been retired for 2 years now. And I have his letter somewhere here where he retired, but I haven't read it yet, Dan. Sorry, I'll get that. And during the 18 years Dan's been with us, he's developed over 70% of our housing for people with disabilities, seniors. And this has resulted in, of course, a tremendous resource for people in 31 states. And that's over 3,000 units. So, Dan, thanks a lot. I could say the same for many, many of our people who are here today from ASI, as well as, of course, our partners. But I better limit my remarks. I know you all have been here for a while today, and I do want to extend a special veteran thanks, though. We think about today, Flag Day, and we think about those who served and to who this will be a home. And my favorite veteran story is one I know fairly well, and he was a 19-year-old when he enlisted, and he was a 90-day wonder at the Naval Academy, where they were cranking out officers for World War II. He ended up on a destroyer in the Pacific in '44, and mid-December, Halsey's typhoons hit. And during those typhoons, 3 destroyers sunk, and 790 sailors died. And that was more than died in Midway and the Coral Sea combined historic naval battles in World War II. The ship that this individual was on was the USS Tabor, and their masts had been broken, and they thought that that was the 4th destroyer that had been sunk, but it wasn't. And the USS Tabor, defying somewhat Admiral Bull Halsey's orders to proceed, said, no, we're going to save the seamen that are in the water. And they rescued 55 individuals in raging typhoon seas. And that was half the number of sailors that were saved from those. And this young man was on that ship. And ever since then, he was never very comfortable around water, as you can imagine, given that experience. But he always played with his sons in the water in the northern Minnesota lake. He also canned Spam his whole life. He was a Packer, and he said it won World War II, and I'm not going to question that kind of experience. He's an old sailor, and he's my hero, and he's my dad. He's still with us at 95, and I told him about Patriot Place Apartments, and he was very, very happy, and I could see him kind of in a black and white polo and his dressed whites, and he said, will you tell everybody thanks for their service and welcome home? So thanks to all the vets.
Wow, the only way to follow that act is to have the pleasure of having a gentleman by the name of Mr. Otha Brown, who served as a U.S. Marine from 1956 to 1959. Also served as part of the Nevada test site up near Indian Springs. Welcome, Mr. Otha Brown, resident of Patriot Place Apartments.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much, and I am so proud to be here. I think about the people from Minnesota, how I got here, and how I met the people here, and it's just overwhelming that we still have people in America that still think one of each other and care for each other and reach out for one another. I came to Las Vegas in my first time in 1957 to the test site. I don't know if you all seen some of the flyers that was out there. They needed somebody to expose themselves to the fallout, and they brought some Marines down from California, and I happened to be fortunate enough to be in that group there. So then I came back again, and 2 years ago I came here, and I was living in some senior apartments over there, and something went wrong, and I had to move, and I moved, and I was sort of between, you could call it homeless, and fortunately I looked, and God said, I'm with you. I'll never leave you. Then from that point on, I met some people from Housing Authority. The Housing Authority, and I looked up and I said, yeah, he's with me. And then a few days later, I got a call from St. Paul, Minnesota. Then things started really clicking. I talked to Miss Vicky, and from Minnesota there, and she was so patient. And all of the people that I've talked to from Minnesota have that quality of being patient. So she led me through this, and I explained to her the dilemma that I was going through. And she said, I'll get back to you in about maybe 2 weeks and let you know what your standings are and what your opportunities. She called me back in about 4 hours, and she said, your move-in date will be September the 1st. Then again, I said, okay, there you're still with me. And then I came down here and I looked and I viewed the place and I looked at everything and I said, whoa, what a beautiful place here. I want to be on the top floor. And I want this. And I left and I talked with management there. September the 1st, I came back here, and she told me what I have to move in, and I rendered that, and I left. And I didn't have any furniture or anything to move in here. So my daughter came by, and she picked me up, and we went to a furniture store. Went to the furniture store, and I got really sick. I started hurting in my chest, and then I started coughing, and I started throwing up right there in the furniture store. And I didn't understand nothing that was going on. But anyway, I purchased some furniture there. And after I purchased the furniture, then I had to immediately go. My daughter had to take me to emergency. I went straight from there to emergency, but I had bought the furniture. The people were going to deliver the furniture the next day. I'm in the hospital. With I needed a gallbladder operation and that kind of thing there. And so the manager here accepted and assisted my daughter and with the furniture and everything. Then I was to be brought here, and when I came out of the hospital, I had a furnished place. It wasn't accustomed to it. Then things start to happening more and more. I'm starting to meet a person here from Minnesota. Then a little later on, I meet another person from Minnesota, and I'm meeting different people from Minnesota. Then I'm meeting people again from Housing Authority, and they all allow me and let me know that we're reaching out. And it was in. And I said again, I know you're still with me. You told me you're going to be with me. And it is so gratifying for me to be here today and to be part of the knowing that I'm with people like this for the rest of my life. Because I thought the people of this nature was still in Arkansas. I came up in Arkansas. The people were so good and so kind in Arkansas. I thought they were still there, but they're in Minnesota too. Please, thank you so much.
What a great event. Thank you so much, Otha. I appreciate your kind words and for sharing your story. Before I forget, I do want to recognize and thank the gentleman from the VFW Post 36 out of Boulder City, Mr. Mike Barth, Mr. Russ Martin, and Mr. Bob Garlow, who did the flag raising ceremony for us here today. I hope today has highlighted just the amount of work and effort and energy that so many different agencies and organizations have collaborated on together to make what we do happen. And we really couldn't do what we do without the support and the assistance from so many people. I can't thank everyone, but I do want to highlight and thank a property management team that I've been very fortunate to have a long-term relationship with a lot of them who've been with ASI for a very long time. And we took on the lease-up of Patriot Place Apartments, which is our very first low-income housing tax credit-funded project. And they have owned it since day one, and they have hit it out of the park in so many ways, and I couldn't be more proud to work with such a great crew. So thank you. I also want to thank a couple of people who are here today, Miss Ruby Duncan and Miss Diane Gwynn. Thank you for taking time. I also want to thank Ms. Monica Barnes from Nevada Partners, who's here today. Thank you very much. I also want to thank Mary Evilsizer and Alicia from the Nevada Center for Independent Living, who we are working with. Before we let everyone eat today, we do want to show and unveil a little piece of artwork that will be on display just outside to the left of the elevators sometime after today. And before you also leave, I have a mini version of what we're about to unveil to everybody who has showed up. So please don't leave without one. But if I could have all of the speakers come up here so we can have you unveil what we're about to display on our wall for everyone, we'd appreciate it.
And a big round of applause for Ken Berry.
Go ahead and start pulling it up. There we go. You can't see it from here, but if you look look real close, the entire image is made out of construction photos of the building while it was under construction, as well as the different logos and slogans from all the departments who are involved in this process. So.